You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hey, how we doing, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. My name is Jordan Lowe.
My name is Cliff Barnes.
My name is Seth.
How's it going, guys? Haven't talked to you in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, forever.
Like last time I talked to you, I had this shirt on.
Cliff's doing a lot of dishwashing.
Yes.
The dishwasher's still running after all these weeks. You should get that looked at. So we are Zooming, we are washing dishes, we are multitasking, and we are podcasting. Welcome back. Remember how I said I joined Amazon Prime?
Yeah.
And there's all these perks to it, including 2-day shipping. Is that not the whole thing of it?
Yeah, I got I got stuff today.
That's
right?
the whole deal right there. That's
the
worth
whole
it right there.
That's the whole ball game, so I've heard.
Yeah.
So I ordered some stuff. One such stuff was a book that came out on Tuesday. And I couldn't remember the last new book I bought. I usually just buy old stuff at, flea markets and stuff. But this was a brand new book by Max Brooks, the author of World War Z. It's called Devolution, a first-hand account of the Rainier Sasquatch Massacre. So this is the World War Z template of like historical documents and first-hand accounts, but it's about the worst Sasquatch massacre in the history of America.
Is this like a Mount Rainier?
Like Mount Rainier in Washington, right?
Yeah.
So
I'd never heard of this historical.
Well, it's historical.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to get this book to find out. But yeah, it's like someone found this journal that had been lost, and the idea is the author has delved into all this research and uncovered this past massacre that happened and this history that's been uncovered. So I really wanted to read it. And it was my brother's birthday, so I thought, hey, I'll order him a copy, get it shipped to his house. I'll order myself a copy. Screw it, I'm buying 2 copies of this book.
Your birthday.
It's my fake birthday, too. I'm going to treat myself. So ordered. It was like Monday night at it was after midnight. It was like 1 a.m. I put the order through. And it was going to arrive on Tuesday. Not the book, but there was some other stuff I ordered. And it's going to show up on Tuesday. And the book would show up on Thursday. I was like, I don't need it that fast. You could do, and there was a button. You can have your Amazon day. Like you can pick one day a week.
Nobody does that.
Okay. Well, you get a free $1 worth of digital stuff too. They give you a coupon. So I thought, I'll just say, I don't need some Amazon warehouse guy running around at 4 a.m. getting this. I bought printer ink. I don't need printer ink. I didn't need it.
Amazon Prime is not for ethical people.
Right. That's very true.
I want my 1-day shipping, no time to pee. Get it in a box.
Someone take a break, have a nice long bathroom break, relax. I don't need my printer ink.
You think that's what happens? Now, I just want to know if you think that in your head that this affects anybody's break time.
It did. By like a nanosecond.
Wow.
But it's a waste. Then the
cardboard.
Yeah, waste of cardboard. I'm thinking about the poor mail person, the mail carrier who
needs
has
a
to
job.
lug this box.
Yeah.
Needs a job.
Right.
Now the box is going to be twice as heavy because you find everything.
That's right.
So I'm trying to be ethical. I'm trying to help. I'm not in a hurry. So Thursday goes by. Jared gets his birthday present. Awesome. It shipped to Lower Salem out in the hinterlands. Downtown Marietta, it doesn't show up. I check tracking. It says, uh-oh, it's late. Sorry, it'll come tomorrow. Doesn't come today either. It left Euclid, Ohio.
Here we go.
Went east to Pittsburgh. Went north to Warrendale, Pennsylvania. And that's where it was this afternoon. As of tonight, now it's in Cincinnati, Ohio. So
you're not making me feel good about things, because I had 3 items on order Amazon Prime from 2 days ago. Got 2 of those items today, and the third one was shipped separately. But when I checked it, when the other 2 came in, it said would be here by 9 p.m. I
did the exact same thing today. I had multiple shipments. And some things got here, and the other stuff said by 9 p.m. And now it says we're gonna be late.
Yep, that's what I just checked it. That's what mine says.
I mean, I realize we're in a global pandemic. There are shipping problems and delays happening, but gotta say the vaunted Prime shipping is not getting off on the right foot with me.
First mistake you did was let them know that you would give them any leeway whatsoever.
Right. Yeah, you can't do that.
You gotta crack the whip.
Mm-hmm.
No, I want this all immediately.
You should be standing on the street corner pointing at your watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, the mail person dropped off mail. FedEx dropped something off for my landlord, and UPS brought me something for Diamond. So I had 3 delivery people show up today, and I all thought they had my package. None of them did.
Wow. Wow.
Somebody got a Star Wars toy, though.
I'm not sure what it was. Could have been. I watched Fleabag, though. I checked out the video streaming's fine. That works.
Yeah.
How did you like it?
I watched the first episode, and I thought, this is good, but this kind of reminds me of this other show I really like that has Olivia Colman in it and is British and is kind of raunchy and kind of breaks the fourth wall, which is Peep Show. I thought, I wonder if Prime has Peep Show. And they do, so I watched 3 seasons of Peep Show before I watched the second episode of Fleabag.
Cool.
Be so sad.
I rewatched all of Love.
I watched like 3 or 4 episodes just not too long ago. Just was in the mood for it, and I was like, I'm gonna watch an episode, and then like I was 3 or 4 into it, and I was like, man, I gotta go to bed.
Nick hadn't watched it.
Isn't there a song, I'm in the mood for love?
Nick hadn't watched it, so I was like, here's something to watch. So we watched all that, and then I finished that what's her name? HBOMax show, Love Life, Anna Kendrick.
Oh, yeah.
Did you end up watching any of that yet?
Not yet. I think we probably will, though.
It's good. I finished it. It's 10 episodes, and I've enjoyed it. I really liked it. And I guess they're going to do another season, and it'll be a different person.
Okay.
It kind of just goes through her love life, basically, over a decade. So it was good. I thought it was very enjoyable. I like her, and it was pretty interesting. We're also rewatching. I have never done a rewatch of Lost, and I wasn't one of the people that just lost my mind and trolled and was upset about the ending. But I also don't remember all the details and everything, so I said, Nick, hey, you want to watch Lost? Check it out. I'm getting ready to do a rewatch. He's like, nah. I said, I don't think so. I was like, well, let's just watch the pilot. If you don't like that, you have to watch it more. With knowing, I know that that's one of the best pilots ever made.
Don't tell me what I can't do.
So I think we watched like 6 or 8 episodes in that setting, and now we're as of this moment we're about halfway through season 2. It's guess what? Lost is a pretty good show.
That's one I've always wanted to rewatch, but was never quite motivated enough to do it.
It's got some weak weakness here. That the first season is great, so you can't go wrong with the first season. Second season, there's moments that, of course, I remember that I want to re-see, and I want to see how the ending plays it for me this time. But anyway, he's really enjoying it, because he's never seen it before, and I'm getting a lot more out of it this time, knowing why people are acting the way as they are and what is going on.
Knowing it's not Penny's boo.
Yeah, just kind of throw that out there. There's so things like that. I'm like, Nick, don't even Google Lost. You cannot Google it because there's certain images that are immediately going to pop up, and like we got to go back. Like I can't say that. I keep wanting to say that, and I ordered the Michael Giacchino or Giacchino. I don't know how to say his last name. That's like universally the best TV soundtrack. So he did a concert for the 15-year anniversary last year, I believe in Australia, and they put it out on 180 gram vinyl, and I ordered it, and it should be here this week. I've just been loving the soundtrack as we listen to it. No, it's not coming.
Check the
I put 1 day shipping. Anyway,
what's your Amazon day?
Yeah, exactly. I don't. I said no Amazon day, and don't ever ask me that garbage again. Every day is Amazon day. If I did pick one, I'd pick Sunday, just to really nobody.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was funny because I said, Nick, when those records come, you can't even look at them, because I've been saying, just kept saying, I was like, there's this quote I keep wanting to say that, because he's like, he keeps saying, well, they must be on the island the whole time, and all this. And I was like, I want to say this quote. It's literally printed on every one of the albums on both sides. Every album says we gotta go back. It's so funny. But if you don't know the premise of Lost, they get cut. Anyone that doesn't, you get it. I didn't watch it originally when it came out. I think I started into it probably the fourth season around then, because it was just such water cooler talk. Everybody was talking about Lost all the time and the puzzly stuff. And I was like, okay, I got to watch this. But when it originally came out and they said it's people getting a plane crash and they're on an island, they got to survive. And I'm like, so it's fictionalized Survivor. So why would I watch that? I love Survivor. Well,
why? Polar bears are in Survivor.
Yeah. It's just like, it didn't click with me. Why would you do this when you have Survivor? But anyway, it's a totally different animal. It's a polar bear. And the way they present it, where each episode they are showing you what's happening on the island, but also they're flashing back to each of these people's lives and what has brought them there, type thing. So it is good upon rewatch.
Yeah, I watched it from the beginning, and I always was more interested in the characters than I was the crazy plot and the mystery. I had a good friend who he barely watched any TV ever. He would just watch news and like the occasional thing, but like he got so into this show, and we would talk about it, and he was like, so what do you think the writing on that wall was? And it's like he was into it in a whole different way than I was.
Right.
And I have a feeling he was way more let down than I was, because it doesn't pay off that side of it.
Right.
The character stuff I think is wonderful, and still do. The other stuff never quite made it.
I will say that in 2004 we were way too comfortable with low-rise bootcut jeans and torture. This was post 9/11, and the S.H.I.E.L.D character, and he's Iraqi. Oh, but here's a twist. He's the torturer. And it's like, but he's a good guy. And so it's just like, I'm like, it's very 2004. But yeah, like you said, the characters are great. That's the real magic of it. John Locke is just so good. When I think it's the fourth episode or something, when you watch Walkabout. That's one of the great episodes of television, and so that's what you watch Lost for, is those great moments like that. People got too invested in the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, loving that.
Hey, guess what show is back? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
The Drive!
Oh, I wish. The 7th and final season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I've stuck with it all this time, and I'm being repaid.
I've heard it's really good.
It's good.
Here, it came on, and I was like, should I watch that? I have no interest. I was like, and then I got excited when I realized you were going to recap it.
You might actually like this. There's time travel.
What?
Lots of time travel.
Oh.
So it has been off the air for a long time. Season 7 kicks back in. There's not a single recap. There's no previously on S.H.I.E.L.D. They just threw me into the deep end. I was not prepared. I had no idea what's going on. Coulson is back. He's an LMD. He's a life model decoy. He died. He's a robot now. There are these Chronicoms who were the whole plot of last season. I barely remember. So I was having a hard time catching up on what was going on. But it doesn't really matter because it throws you into this fun new idea. The Zephyr, this spaceship they've been on, is now a time machine somehow. They have Simmons kind of explain it. Like, yeah, we meddled with it, and now it's a time machine. Don't ask too many.
Energy.
Yeah, it was basically don't ask too many questions. So it's a lot like Legends of Tomorrow on their flying Wave Rider machine.
I kind of wondered about that when I heard about the premise of this year, and I was like, sounds a little bit like Legends.
And it's also sliders, because they go back to a place and they only have a set amount of time they can be there, and the clock's ticking, and when the clock is 0, they slide on out of there, just like the classic Fox show sliders. So first episode, they go back to 1931 in New York. There are these evil Chronicoms who are going to change history and destroy S.H.I.E.L.D. before it ever starts. So they're going to assassinate FDR while he's still just the governor of New York. He's not even the president, because he's the one who forms the SSR that becomes S.H.I.E.L.D. All right, so they think they're going to assassinate the soon-to-be president, but they're not. They're going to kill somebody else, the ancestor who is the head of Hydra. So if they destroy Hydra, then S.H.I.E.L.D. is never formed in response to Hydra, so there's a neat little twist there. So... and something's going on. May was injured badly last season. Again, I don't know the details. I'm not going to look them up. But so May's having problems. She's like trying to be healed, and she's having psychological problems. But so the idea was this Hydra guy was smuggling the main ingredient of what would become the super soldier serum back to Hydra base, and they realized if they stop him now, it would stop Hydra. But then, Captain America would never be created. S.H.I.E.L.D. would never be created. We can't mess up history that bad. So it's these like, how much can we mess up history and still keep things the same? So they jump from the 30s in 1955 into Groom Lake, Nevada, which becomes Area 51. And of course, someone sees the ship they're in and thinks it's a spaceship. So we're doing the, Doc Brown seeing the DeLorean.
It is a spaceship, right?
Yeah. Well, it's it's like Quinjet basically, but they can take it to space. Yeah. So this episode's guest stars, he was Daniel Sousa on Peggy Carter, the actor, difficult name, Enver Joki. I'm not entirely sure. He was from Dollhouse, the Joss Whedon show. So if you're ever on a Joss Whedon show, you'll be back on another Joss Whedon show later. So they brought him back as this agent in Peggy Carter. So it's Coulson is like a huge fan of this guy. He was like a legendary S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, so he's like fanboying out over him. And there's an episode shot in black and white, and it's the Sunset Boulevard opening where it starts with Sousa dead in a swimming pool, and there's this noir narration of like, it all started on a rainy night sort of thing. So, and every episode has started the credits at the beginning have like period accurate. The 40s one looked like noir credits. It looked like Double Indemnity or something. And then the 50s, they were big like sci-fi, alien invasion credits. So there's some fun time travel-y stuff. This is the kind of fun show I wanted, where it's not one long dreary thing happening. It's a bunch of fun adventures of them, getting into different missions and things. So for last season, I'm glad they're going out with a bang, and it's been good. I've ragged on this show for a lot of years, but I've stuck with it. But so I'm glad I'm getting a little payoff here toward the end.
Cool.
If one last thing on that, I think I saw where they filmed that entire season and the previous season back to together, back to back. So like Clark Gregg has been doing press for it, but it's stuff that they filmed like 2 years ago, and now he's like, he's just out there having fun now. Like he doesn't even. He's so far beyond it. He does not care.
I don't feel so bad then that I'm not the only one who doesn't remember what's going on.
Right. I think I watched 3 other things. One was if you ever watched remember the old Match Game back in the day with Gene, whatever his name was.
Yeah, and Carly was watching Match Game with Alec Baldwin the other day.
That's what I was going to say. For the last several years, I think it's season 5 now, he's been the host. They do Celebrity Family Feud, and they usually bookend it with Match Game with Alec Baldwin. He is really funny. I mean, if you ever hear him on a podcast or something, or whenever he's on, what was he? I think when I watched him on Comedians and Cars and Coffee or whatever, he's so funny. He's just like, he's a funny guy. But he hosts that, and of course, if you don't ever seen Match Game, it's very filled with sexual innuendo, and they always have some B-list stars there as the panel, and you got to contestants match up with them with their answers. And
yeah, we were watching it, and I think it was like Joel McHale, Amy Sedaris,
Kevin
Smith, Raven Simone, and I was just like, this is crazy. It was good though.
Yeah. It's a good show. I've set it to record them now the rest of this season because we watched them together, and it's pretty funny. We watched. I watched the new season of Queer Eye. One of my favorite shows on Netflix. I didn't cry so much this season. I noticed didn't have as many sad moments, but they were in Philadelphia this year. But I don't know. I still love that show. They just go in and somebody's life isn't going so well, and they come in and fix things up.
Whose life is going well at this point? Like, what do you need?
It's easy to find people.
What do you need to spruce up at this point?
I don't know. They went and helped this gay priest, and they went and helped some Mexican guy start his restaurant and things. And it's just, I don't know. They just go in and help people. And you get the whole renovation thing, and you get a bunch of quit it. I give up. I don't like the time limit.
All right.
Anyway. So anyway, Queer Eye's pretty good. It's good. Go back if you watch some of the older seasons. They're just really tear jerkers, and for the most part, these are some really nice guys that just. At the end of every episode, you're like, how is this person? It has to be pretty devastating to the people that they go and help, because a lot of them are in a bad situation and don't have too many friends or don't have time for friends. And these guys are the most friendly and really bring them out of their shell and then leave them.
It's a good show to watch when you're in a bad mood because it's very positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very likable. The other thing I watched was AMC had a show about the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire scandal called Quiz. And it was just 3 episodes, which I was like, bravo for not dragging this out over a whole season of
The
anything.
British know how to do it.
Wow. Yeah, this was the British Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. The guy, I should have looked up his name. The main character is a guy he's one of the 2 best people on Succession. But I think his name's Tom on Succession. But anyway, he's the main character on this. But it's a good show. But if you don't know anything about the scandal, it was about some people who were just really overzealous fans of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It's not like they were the most devious people to walk the earth, but they really wanted to be on this game show and tried to pull off some cheating that was pretty transparent.
Well, they tried to leave it sort of. It could have been either way. I think they tried to kind of leave it up in the air that maybe they weren't cheating or maybe they were like.
Oh no, they definitely were cheating. Like I didn't get that out of it at all.
I thought that final courtroom scene was sort of like, well, this could all be coincidence. Like, it felt like an allegedly. Just say allegedly.
Did you look up any of the real stuff? Like about it?
No.
It's pretty much pretty obvious if you ever see any of that. But it's interesting. I mean, they did. It's basically the build up to it, and then finally the case, trying to see whether they are found guilty or not. But the defense does put up a good case, but it's pretty obvious.
It did remind me how huge that show was.
Right.
What a cultural phenomenon that was when Millionaire debuted.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Everyone was watching it, had the biggest ratings. It was such a phenomenon. And it was a neat thing of like explaining why that was. Like the music and the lighting and the tension and they close up on your face while you're trying to make this agonizing decision. And it was like, it's not just a quiz show. It was like real life human drama. It's like, that was interesting.
Yeah, it's how much time do you need? All the time you want. It's like just figuring out that was the way to do it. Let these people just worry and stuff, and people will love it. It was and the British one was the original version, so it was very well done. The last episode drug a little bit, but I thought the fact that it was only 3 episodes was worth watching.
Cliff, are y'all caught up on Stargirl?
Yes, it is my favorite show right now.
Ooh, wow, that's tall order.
It is such a fun watch. And of course, so far it's just been origin building, team building at this point. But they've done a good job with it. These are legacy characters, and we are getting the younger, the newer teenage versions of them, not the classic versions of them.
And I don't hate these teenagers, which is, for a show like this, that's quite an accomplishment to not immediately have me hate all these people.
It really is. Like the Wildcat episode, I felt for her. Like, and it was the story was really good, and the fact that they took this teenage girl who was everything in high school. She was popular. She was president of her class. She had everything going for her, and including a boyfriend. And then this boyfriend, a simple, like teenagers do, a simple text, to send some pictures of herself to him. And she thinks about it for a second and then kind of hesitates, but then does it. And then it just wrecks her entire life. And her parents almost disown her over it. They can't get over the fact that she did this. She's brought shame to their family and all this stuff, all this turmoil that is not teeny bopper stuff.
It felt relevant. It felt like of the time, but it also felt, it wasn't over dramatized. It seemed like that could actually can and does happen.
Yeah, it's got a nice balance to it. But then, I do. So far, I've really liked it. I wasn't sure when we got this version of Dr. Midnight, how that was going to go. It's very Tony Stark-esque with the glasses and Jarvis and that whole thing. But it's fine. It works for me. I like the villains, seeing those little glimpses of these golden age villains, and Solomon Grundy is just, he's kind of playing the Hulk at this point, but it's really good. This little town story, full of supervillains who have, of course, it's a TV show, so they have prominent roles in the town.
Everyone is a speaking part so far is some other version of somebody.
Right. But like we said before, Luke Wilson is really good. The star character or actress, Breck Basinger, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I like her. She's a lot of fun in this role, and she should be in this role. But the story, it's grabbed onto me. It's compelling. It's just a fun superhero show that we haven't seen done over and over again.
And that was Henry Thomas as Dr. Midnight. Mm-hmm. Mainly just doing the voice.
The voice.
And then our man was Lou Ferrigno Jr.
Really?
Who I did not realize was in the family business.
I didn't either.
Superheroing, but I guess he is. The first 2 episodes were written by Jeff Johns, who is like the creator of this show, the creator of the character.
Yeah.
And those first 2 almost felt like a movie. It almost felt like a 2-part pilot.
Yeah, I was expecting a huge letdown after that.
Yeah, so it felt like one piece of a bigger story. And the 4th episode was written by James Robinson, who wrote a lot of JSA comics, wrote Starman in the 90s, and created the Jack Knight character. So 3 of the first 5 episodes were written by comic book writers. So yeah, hopefully that's the good influence that that they've got these characters down pat and know what they're doing.
I love she's carrying around a gym bag full of Justice Society equipment, all these powerful weapons, and she's just slinging it around, stuffing it in her locker. It's just fun.
And it even made sense, the Injustice Society, where he talks about we're fighting the injustices of the world. Like, that even makes sense of, like, this corny Silver Age name.
Right.
The Injustice Society. Like, they even made that kind of a modern-ish, at least. Even though, again, there was a direct quote. She made fun of something from the JSA days. He goes, hey, it was a different time then. Again, talking about 2010.
Right.
10
right.
years ago.
Yeah. But it was kind of interesting. I noticed I think it was through the goggles when we're looking through them, Dr. Midnight's goggles, when they're talking about different characters, that they show them as members of the JSA, I believe, from like 1941 to 2010. Yeah,
there were some different dates. There was a Red Bee reference.
Yeah.
Which is super obscure, but I loved it.
Yeah.
So there's little nods to all this DC history.
Really, really good stuff. It fits in more with the DC Universe shows than it does the CW shows.
Because it's dark. There's some dark stuff and some deaths and things.
Right. But yeah, it's great. I love it so far. Did you watch the end of Legends? Last couple episodes? Did we ever really talk about those?
Yes, but no, we never talked about it.
Okay. So I wasn't as big on the past season of Legends as I have been the previous ones. I thought the cast was kind of a little weaker. We didn't have nearly as many superheroes on the ship and the crew as that's how this show started. It
seemed a lot of shifting around characters to make up for acting schedules and actor departures, and like the plot was kind of dictated by who is even around at this point.
But I thought by the last two episodes I thought were pretty good and kind of brought it all back around to the point where, hey, I still like this show. I still want to see more. I think Katie Lotz is great. I love her on this show. What she's done with that character, from just a I don't want to say sidekick, but a non-major player, I guess, in Arrow, at the beginning, to where she's come with it now. I love watching her on screen.
Yeah, she's definitely the lead of this. Even though it's a big cast, it kind of all revolves around her. I want to give credit to maybe the best line they've had. Speaking of all these meta references they make, looking back at the 7th episode, it was the one Romeo v. Juliet, Dawn of Justice, where they're back in Shakespeare's days. And Nate comes into the backstage area with all the actors, and they're going to replace all the actors. And he tells them, there's been a change of plans. You guys have been replaced by Riverdale. So he fires all the Shakespeare actors, and they've lost their time slot to Riverdale.
I love I think it was the next to last episode where they're stuck in television shows.
Right.
Like they're doing parodies of Friends and Star Trek and all these popular shows, and I forgot where I was going with it.
Mr. Parker's cul-de-sac?
Yes. That's where I was going with it. Yeah, so this very Mr. Rogers-esque character that's reoccurred this season, and he has a little song he sings. And then in the very last episode, when Charlie decides to stay in the past in the 1970s as because she's going to be a rock and roll punk singer.
Yeah.
And the song she sings is his song. So I love that little nod. And if you didn't really pay attention, you didn't catch it because they didn't acknowledge it at all.
Yeah, it was pretty subtle for the show. Yeah, the stuff that was like a weird 1984 future where all choice had been taken away and everything was gray, and like I could take it or leave it, but that was just a way to get to the interesting stuff.
Right.
And then by the end, they've announced the actor who plays Bayrod's been made into a series regular, so he'll be back next season. It ended on a weird cliffhanger that I don't know what that means, so we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait for next year to figure it out.
Yeah, a lot of speculation on to what aliens have kidnapped, or Alien has kidnapped Sarah Lance at the very end, and I've seen a bunch of different names, anywhere from the Reach to Mongol and a whole cast of characters. So. But it was good. I really enjoyed those last 2 episodes. I liked the entire season was fine, but it just wasn't. It wasn't peak Legends. I felt peak Legends was Bebo. So
there's never topping Bebo.
No, I don't think they can.
Well, TNT premiered their big sci-fi series Snowpiercer. Anybody check that out?
No, I've watched a bunch of trailers for it, but I haven't watched it yet.
I don't know where I am on it. It's got Jennifer Connelly as the lead and Daveed Diggs, famous from Hamilton. This is the sci-fi story of the world has ended. It's frozen over. You can't survive outside, but there's a train that circles the globe. It's 1,001 cars long, and it's perpetually in motion and never stops. And all of humanity is on board this train. So it's a not at all subtle metaphor. The people in first class have all the amenities they could need, and they are living a very posh life. There's second class, third class, and then there are all these people who were stowaways in the tail, or who fought their way onto the train right before it left. So they are the complete underclass. So based on a French graphic novel, and then turned into a sci-fi film by Bong Joon-ho in 2013. It's fun. I haven't loved it. The movie kind of knows what it is a little more, if that makes sense. Like, the movie is very pulpy and it knows the metaphor's not subtle, so it just goes for it. And it's got hatchet fights and like it's way over the top. The show, I think, is trying to be more, we're really making a statement, man. So it's like, I roll my eyes a little bit at it, that it's not subtle at all. And then that first episode, you learn in the before time, Daveed Diggs was a homicide detective. They need his help to solve a murder. There might be a serial killer on the train. And I roll my eyes. It's like, this show is already one thing. It does not need to be a police procedural, like, crime drama. And it's done some interesting stuff, but that's kind of been the backstory of the whole season, is there's a murderer on the loose, and they have to have this guy from the tail solve it. And there's been some things. The suspect is a first-class passenger, so it's about justice. Can there ever be real justice? The first class looks out for their own, and they're never going to convict this person. And so there's some social commentary going on. But the most important thing, there's a character named Klimt. I had to pause the thing and rewind it. I was like, did she just call him Klimt?
Oh, my.
He is like the scientist.
I thought he was the serial killer.
No, he does he works in the morgue, like does the autopsies, and they put people in these drawers. They put them in like suspended animation. So he's like he's the scientist guy. So
Klimt
Clattenburg has made his way to the small screen.
He's on the loose.
But isn't Klimt right at the moment like in suspended animation in your game?
Who knows? Who knows?
Lost
Whatever.
Somewhere.
He was kidnapped.
They still haven't found him.
He could be dead for all we know. All right.
We ready to put this one to bed?
I think so. Let's tuck her in.
Exciting stuff, you guys. High energy as always.
Yeah, it's late.
Late, got to work tomorrow.
Are your dishes done, Cliff?
Yes, we're all good now.
We've talked long enough for your dishes to get done.
Mm-hmm.
That was the most important thing.
Cool.
All right, getting the wrap-up sign here. So that'll be it for tonight. Thank you for listening. Thank you to all our patrons out there who patronize us.
Yes.
And send in that $1 every month to get all access to all our bonus features, secret Facebook page, video of us talking about these interesting things.
Yeah, I feel like I've been kind of mailing it in on the patron stuff because we're putting out the video version of the podcast to them, which is great. That's
pretty sweet.
Yeah, I enjoy that, but
they're getting all the visual jokes.
Yeah,
getting all the signs we make, signs to each other.
But I've been lacking.
Take drinks.
I've been slacking on the patron feed though, and not loading it up with anything. So
yeah.
And I'm gonna get in there and write some more entries into our journal of references our glossary of inside jokes and things. I've made a list of those of some things that need definitions. So That's another perk you get. I'm gonna add a few more things to it.
They if anyone has any suggestions for more one-job contestants, preferably someone of color or minority, we'd like to spotlight. And what I'm really asking is because we kind of threw back some back and forth suggestions in our messenger, but something out of the box. It doesn't always have to be an actor or actress. If there's someone, I don't know, author, or if you have a favorite creator or in anything, let us know, because I can't think of all this stuff.
And some me questions. Ask us
if
you have anything you want to know about us and our personal lives.
Right. What was the first place you ever bowled? I don't know.
If you want to know more than what's just in our backgrounds,
because you'd be surprised what I remember. But if you have to spark something, you would be. I bet we have some more great stories, but you gotta find the right question to fire us up here.
Yeah, at this point, we're talking about we're waiting on our Amazon deliveries. That's all we got.
Yeah. Well, so we need similar Amazon problems. I'm afraid that something got flagged. We had someone in Marietta has actually created an Amazon Day for their account, and now I think they think all of Marietta did that because no one's ever done that in this area before.
Right.
I gummed up the works. Sorry, guys.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Great job.
Alrighty. Thank you once again. We will be back before you know it. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
Seth. Goodbye.
Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udamwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, @gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, please sign up to be a patron through the Podbean app or our website, www.udamwithkpp.com, to receive special content and early access to some episodes. We are grateful to anyone that chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will always remain free. So please continue to like, comment, and share.